Tommy D, the nonprofit sector connected. This is your pals, the professionals and animal. Should I sing? Yeah, let's do it. Professionals and animal lovers show.
Yo.
See how we did that, Valerie? We didn't even plan that out, and it just happened. I'm Tommy D. That's Valerie. There's Nancy. Don't hassle me. Hassel is here with us today. I bet that she's never heard that one before. And
No, never.
right? I just made that up. Like that was like a trailblazing comment I made. Don't hassle. You know, I David Hasselhoff. Don't they say don't hassle the Hoff? You know, like that.
They do.
They do, right? That whole thing. He's big in Germany. I've always heard that.
Yep.
Big in Germany. Valerie, before we even get started, who do you have there?
Hi, everybody. Jovi's back, he decided to come back to work today, put on a little bow tie, decided to help us out for a change instead of napping.
Yo, I just came up with this in my head. Well, that's the train. That's the Long Island Railroad's coming, so we have to hurry up. That's my ride. Yeah, I know. I'm on my way. Hold on. I was just thinking JTD, Jovi the dog. I remember back in the day, like wrestling, we used to call it used to be WWF, and then they had to change it. Because actually, that's probably a topic we should talk about. The World Wildlife Federation made World Wrestling Federation change their name a bunch of years back. I don't know if
that what happened.
I didn't know if you knew that. Yeah.
No, I didn't know, but I was a big WWF fan.
Which one? Which the Wildlife Federation or the wrestling one?
Well, I grew up with my cousin, who we were like a year apart, very close. He and I were so into, like the whole Jimmy Snuka, Superfly Snuka.
Yeah.
I had a crush on Roddy Piper.
Just passed away a couple of years back.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Hulk Hogan, the camel clutch. The day that Hulk Hogan broke out of the camel clutch was one of the best days of our lives.
Nancy, we prep for this show to have a conversation about one thing, and then for the first 20 minutes we talk about something totally different.
That's okay.
That's how the show goes. So welcome to it. So yes, wrestling. I will tell you, I remember they used to have WWF wrestling on Friday nights, and one time I was sleeping over my cousin Mickey and Vinny, Michael and Vinny. Yes, my cousin Vinny. You like the movie? Yes, exactly. But I was sleeping over their house in Belrose, Queens, and they actually, ironically, their bedroom was in the attic, which is where I hail from, the attic right now. But I remember watching, and it was like Friday Night Wrestling, and it was like Mr. Fuji, and he was like a little man, and he was like throwing like this dust in the other wrestler's eye, and I was young. It was like the time I was like 7, 8 years old. It was like I was so scared. I used to get scared like at sleepovers. I was like a homebody. I like to, apparently I haven't left my house or my attic for 2 years. I guess. Tommy, this is the wrong appointment. Talk to your therapist about these issues.
I can't help you with that.
Yeah. Oh, Nancy, I don't know who can help me. Somebody help me. Call me, text me. I need help. I'm just kidding. We all need a little support once in a while, and that's a different topic. Come to Philanthropy and Focus. We talk about mental health issues, and we'll deal with that conversation. This particular program is all about creating community. This particular show, Professionals and Animal Lovers show, is just here's what I'm going to read you right off of the talkradio.nyc website. We want to amplify the message that we believe the bond between animal lovers is incredibly strong. So what do we want to do? We want to support each other in business by building a compassionate network together so everyone wins.
Especially the animals.
Yes.
I could count on that. Awesome. So how do we do that? Look, we get together every week from 2 p.m. Eastern time to 3 p.m. Eastern time here on talkradio.nyc and also on Facebook. And we bring leaders in animal advocacy. There's really 3 things I show up for. And I'm guessing you probably show up for the same things too. And maybe the humor of Valerie and Tommy D is part of it. So maybe it's 4 things. But learn, educate, and advocate. And that's why we're here. And that's what we're here to do. I was just having a conversation with somebody the other day, and I was explaining the premise of the community we're building. And I said, well, picture it like this. If I need a mortgage loan officer, or I need a trust and estates attorney, Valerie's way of looking at the world is, and I have, if 2 people are the same as far as background and the way they deliver service, we're going to go with the one that cares about animals, which is kind of like a no-brainer, because if you're kind of like a jerk and you say, I don't care about animals, well, how much do you really care about me as your client? I was looking up a whole bunch of quotes to kind of close out the show with today. And there's not just one quote that Gandhi had around the animals, Val. There's like 22. So just the importance around compassion and looking out for other species. So before we jump into the conversation with Nancy, I have a little treat on my desk I'll share with you guys in a second. Valerie, do you have anything you want to bring up legislatively, things that are going on in the community before I do my little trick and then we start meeting with Nancy?
I'm so excited to have Nancy on. It's like scale of 1 to 10. I'm at like a 99. I
don't think that's not actually on the scale. That's not
it's not right. It's called a hyperbole.
Oh,
anyway. Actually, so legislatively, I just want to give a big shout out to Assembly Person, and we're trying to like make the case for why Tommy and his family should foster a bunny rabbit, and how desperate they are for fosters on Long Island.
I thought you were going to say how you started talking about my family and how desperate they are. I thought you were going to say like how desperate we are for a bunny rabbit. Like you just don't know it, but you are. But yes, you've been selling hard on that. And I'm like, is she really going to say like we're in a desperation to have a rabbit now? Like you're taking every angle.
So I reached out to Assemblyman Ra, who I've met before with a couple of events or things. Actually, he invited me once to his house. We did a press conference together because he created like National Pet Fire Safety Day, and he handed out like these stickers that you put on your door. Anyway, the point is that I sent him a quick message. I said, hey, we're trying to make the case for why Tommy D should foster a bunny. And I gave him Tommy's cell number. The next thing I know, a couple hours later, I didn't know if he would do it. Tommy calls me up and he's like, you're insane. I can't believe this. My assemblyman just texted me.
I was looking for the text message.
So shout out to Assemblyman Rod.
Shout out to Rod. It's funny. What a great name, by the way. Didn't we do something like Rah? Yeah, we did that like a couple weeks ago, like before I even knew him. And now it turns out like we grew up in the same neighborhood. We know the same people. But shout out Ed Ra. It's funny because he texted me, he goes, this is your assemblyman, Ed Ra. Foster that bunny rabbit. Like that's how it went down. Hysterical.
No, but in all sincerity, like Ed Ra is very pro animal welfare, and he has co-sponsored in a committee, and we're hoping to get it to the floor. And there's many other co-sponsors. I can't mention them all right now, but the point is, I mean, to your point, Tommy D, and the point of the show is that I'm looking to get people who are animal lovers to support other animal lovers in business and in life, in the voting booths, everywhere, so that the overall world can benefit from compassionate people.
100%. That's the whole world. That's what we're supposed to do, gang. I got on my soapbox on my other show, Philanthropy and Focus on Friday. Like we were talking about the rabbit. Val was checking in. She's on the Facebook. She's making a case for the rabbit. She likes stalking me about this.
I saw that.
And I will tell you, like I'm not real big on the Facebook. If I was, I probably wouldn't call it the Facebook. I would probably call it Facebook, but I'm not big on it. But I see it, like I'm staring at it actually on our other screen because I'm watching if you guys are checking in on the show. But it's funny because Valerie was watching that show, and the show that was really talking about nonprofits on Friday, we ended up talking a lot about the rabbit, which again, it isn't one rabbit. We don't even know. So it is, how do I say this? We're in negotiations right now. We're in the negotiation phase of the rabbit scenario. Go with that word. That's where we're at. So this is not it's not a go and it's not a no. We're somewhere in the middle of those two.
It's on the table.
It's on the table. Yeah.
I say just do it. Why not? It's just a rabbit. It's not like you're adopting, a horse.
I'm with you. And I already
be amazing too, but
so funny you say that. I sit on the board of Horseability, which is out at SUNY Old West.
Yeah, of course. I know them.
You know them, right? My friend Katie McGowan and Katie, like my kids want a horse, and Katie's like, Tommy, you have all these horses. Like, just tell your kids like these are your horses too. And I'm like, I like that. But Nancy, what you may not understand about the way this whole rabbit thing went down last week, we do need to put this aside and get into the meat of the conversation. But what happened last week was it went from Tommy, you should foster a rabbit to it's cool because once that rabbit finds a home, you can put a rabbit in its place. So it wasn't like foster a rabbit and then you did it was like you are now going to foster rabbits forever, and every 4 months you get a new one. So it was kind of like I'm just saying I felt a little manipulated, but I'm not calling anybody out except my co-host. But that's all. You look surprised.
I'm just kind of like
you were
a
frozen.
swing for the fences kind of a person.
What type of person?
A swing for the fences kind of a person.
No doubt.
But I would be perfectly fine with you doing one Foster, one rabbit. I saw a rabbit at All About Rabbits Rescue in Long Island named Thomas. Just saying.
Really? All right. So wherever All About All Rescues, we're All About All Rabbits. I forgot what you called it. Where because we were talking about this the other day, like on Val, this is like one of our phone calls and people are actually listening to it. That's what's going on now.
Scary. No F-bombs.
We think we're going to start recording our phone conversations and just make a whole series out of that because there's but Val, where are they? Because maybe I don't think they have an actual place to go, right? Because I want to go out there. I talked to my friend Jamie. We're going to go to one of these places and just see the rabbits.
I know they're going to be a guest coming up in a couple of weeks. I don't know if they have a brick and mortar location, like a storefront that you can just, show up at. I believe that most of they're foster based, I believe, which is why they need fosters, because there's a problem right now. The population and everything. It's like cats,
Tell me the name what's it called again?
All About Rabbits Rescue Group.
All right. So if you're listening All About All Rescues, I don't know what you said. If you heard your name based on what Valerie said when she said it correctly, check in with us on Facebook. If you didn't, I don't know. I'm coming out to visit wherever you are to see the bunnies. All right. So there is something we do have to go to a quick break. And before we do that, should I show the secret before? Because I have a little surprise for you. Should I do it before the break or after the break?
For me?
Yeah, before the break.
Oh, dear Lordy.
That's a good tease. Do it after the break.
I like you, Nancy. Nancy,
Okay.
what's going on? All right, so what we'll do instead of that is we have a minute. So I want to just say, Nancy, hello. I'm going to read your bio when you come back. Welcome to the show. Welcome to PALS. How are you today?
I'm good. Thank you for having me. I'm looking forward to jumping in and getting into the show and talking about the pet industry and all the fun things that we love to do in the pet industry.
Love it.
Joby's so darn cute.
Isn't he cute? American Pet Professionals. Valerie's got a whole new background. Live, love, bark. And I love those, like, it looks like paintings that they, you go to bingo. Do you ever go to bingo? It looks like they did those paintings with a bingo blotter. Nothing? No one? Okay.
I love it. I love this. I love this sign. Actually, Joe Gatto, shout out to Joe Gatto. He has a mini version of it in his background.
Which one? The Live, Love, Bark?
Yep, I saw it and I was like, oh, I have that.
Right on, Joe. Joe, we do hope at some point we get you on the show. Joe on the show. So let's go to a quick break. Tommy D, Valerie, and Nancy Hassel are here. American Pet Professionals is in the house. Your pals are in the house. I have something to share, a little surprise when we come back. We'll be right back.
Yippee.
Are you a business owner? Do you want to be a business owner? Do you work with business owners? Hi, I'm Stephen Fry, your small and medium-sized business or SMB guy, and I'm the host of the new show, Always Friday. While I love to have fun on my show, we take those Friday feelings of freedom and clarity to discuss popular topics on the minds of SMBs today. Please join me and my various special guests on Friday at 11 a.m. on talkradio.nyc.
Are you a conscious co-creator? Are you on a quest to raise your vibration and your consciousness? I'm Sam Leibowitz, your conscious consultant, and on my show, The Conscious Consultant Hour, Awakening Humanity, we will touch upon all these topics and more. Listen live at our new time on Thursdays at 12 noon Eastern Time. That's The Conscious Consultant Hour, Awakening Humanity, Thursdays, 12 noon on talkradio.nyc.
Are you on edge? Hey, we live in challenging, edgy times, so let's lean in. I'm Sandra Bargman, the host of The Edge of Every Day, which airs each Monday at 7 p.m. Eastern Time on talkradio.nyc. Tune in live with me and my friends and colleagues as we share stories and perspectives about pushing boundaries and exploring our rough edges. That's The Edge of Every Day on Mondays at 7 p.m. Eastern Time on talkradio.nyc.
You're listening to Talk Radio NYC. Uplift, educate, empower.
Hey, this is Pals. I'm Tommy. That's Valerie. Pals, Val. That rhymes. And Nancy's here. And here's a quick thing. I like words, and I was listening to the commercials there. Uplift, educate, and empower. That's what we're doing here on the network. And we also say here, professional serving community. And that's sort of like, really, Val, when you told me we should do this, I said, oh, I do a show. We should just do it on Sam's network on talkradio.nyc. And we talked about it. And I remember it was like summertime. I was in Bayside on Bell Boulevard. I remember having a conference call with you and Sam. And I hadn't even realized how on brand this actually was for us to do it here. Right? Like it more and more, it makes sense just based on the messaging that goes on here. All right. So you want to play a game?
Okay.
All right. Do you know what these are?
Can't really see it.
You know what these are? All right. So
No.
I'm going to, Valerie, I'm gonna like show my desk.
Oh.
And I'm going to open this envelope, and maybe you can just tell people what we're doing, because if you're listening, if you're just
opening something wrapped in tissue paper, and I have no idea what it is. These
So-
are baseball card. It's Boone on a baseball card. Oh my God. How adorable. Boone. Okay, so Boone.
Talk about this.
It's important to say who Boone is.
Yes.
Boone was one of our guests, along with his humans, Charlie and Tanya Dybel, which rhymes with Bible. And he is the American Hero Dog of the Year from last year. He won. He has a wheelchair. He lost his legs to abuse, and he's a therapy dog as well, representing Joey's Paw, which stands for prosthetic and wheels. And anyway, we met them online. I have to meet them in person. In fact, we're supposed to come to New York soon. And I said to Barry, can we make a quick stop in Pittsburgh? Which
it's on the way. It's not even close.
But anyway, the point is, we love and I'm obsessed with Boone. I love him so much, and I have to meet him. So
texting Tanya, like after the show, I guess it was last week. It was probably like the rabbit episode. And I was will forever be known as the rabbit episode.
Yes.
So
I have to get to the Nancy episode.
Yes, but that might be next week. So anyhow, I texted, I'm just kidding, not anyhow, but I texted Tanya, and I was like, Tanya, Valerie is not so jazzed with me right now because I have a baseball card and she doesn't. So Val, we collect cards in the house. So I'll have this all tightened up and sent down to you, because I got you something else with this CBD stuff for Jovi. All right, let's get into our show now. We've 19 minutes. All right, let's do this. I'm going to read some quick background on Nancy and her organization, and then we're just going to be quiet and let her tell the story. So this organization is a membership-based organization that started in February of 2009. So an anniversary this month, right?
Yep, 13 years.
13 years, lucky number 13. I don't care what you guys say about numbers. 13 is a lucky number here today. AmericanPetProfessionals.com is a website. I shared it while we were at break. They've been featured in Pet Age magazine, Pet Product News International magazine. Who knew these magazines existed? There's a whole bunch of magazines I'm going to tell you guys about. Pet Business Magazine, Pets Plus Magazine, Dogster Magazine. I dig that name. A Modern Dog, and a bunch of other magazines, newspapers, and blogs. Nancy has hosted over 1,000 pet events in the past 10 years. I didn't even have the time for that. I guess she'll tell us. Nancy created responsible dog ownership program and has taught over 2,500 pet parents in a 5-year period. Recently awarded 2018 Women of Influence by Pet Age magazine, and American Pet Professionals was voted best networking organization 3 years in a row by the Long Island Press. She lives here on Long Island. We call it Strong Island. Some of us do. And she's a pet parent of Cody, who of course is a rescued American Pit Bull Terrier. All right, so rescue, right?
Yep.
Hey, hashtag do not shop. You must adopt. That's not how you say it. You say adopt. Right? I just changed the words around because it makes.
I need to say something about it.
Okay, please.
And then just really quickly, but this podcast is basically the online, audio video version of an event that her and I did together like 5 years ago.
Okay.
And it is so cool to me because, it's really started with our accountant, but he was shy. So I kind of built an event around him. It turned out that I realized while doing another business networking event that there was a lot of pet owners and pet lovers in that room. And so I just said, let's do a networking event and invite all these people from all different walks of life who are pet lovers. And long story short, from that one little event, there was a ton of business generated. I just heard again another success story that just happened. And this was that continuation. So every time I spoke to you, Tommy Demisa, about that event, you were like, come on, let's do something. You're always talking about animals. Every time I talk to you, you're talking about animals. And so here we are. So thank you, Nancy, because that one little thing from 5 years ago has really blossomed into something that we're growing tremendously here.
Well, thank you for reaching out. That was a fun event. 5 years, it feels so long ago because of the pandemic. Yeah. We haven't been anywhere, right?
These are different. These years are a different length right now.
Yeah, right. Yeah. So maybe it was 10, not really, but yeah, that was a fun networking event. And that was probably one of the first one that I did that incorporated non-pet professionals, other business owners that loved pets, but that were not necessarily a pet business owner, an animal rescue, or a nonprofit. So it was fun. I know. And then you moved. So you'll have to come back to New York for another event soon, right? And
we are, yes.
Yeah.
100%. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, thank you for that intro, Tommy.
Yeah, no, and you know what, Nancy, I'm just going to start off with a quick little question.
Yeah.
But when you decided to do this, how did you start it? Like, did you just have a couple of friends that you talked to about it and were supportive to you, or did you advertise it like in a newspaper, or like what did you do?
Well, a little bit of all of that, but it started because I was in 2008 in late November. I was speaking at a entrepreneurial networking event for all kinds of business owners. And I lived on the east end of Long Island at the time. And that event was like all the way almost in Queens. It was like really far into Nassau. So quite a distance to drive. But I was speaking about how to get your business in the news because I did PR, for a long time. Right. And I happened to be sitting next to a veterinarian who had just come back from veterinary school and her residency and working whatever, and that she had come back and she said to me, are there any pet professional organizations on Long Island that I can join? And I said, well, there's a veterinary organization for veterinarians. I said, but it's, but there's no pet professional organization. I said, but it's kind of funny because you're the third person who's asked me that in the last 2 weeks. Mm-hmm. And I sat and I looked at the networking event. I'm like, I could host one of these for the pet industry. And then flash forward to February, 2009, a few months later, on a Tuesday night, and a cold Tuesday night, I hosted an event at a local restaurant in Hauppauge. And I just decided, I'm going to do a press release about it and see if anybody would be interested, because my whole theory is I think we're better working together.
Yes.
Instead of looking at each other as competition.
Right.
There's enough to go around for everybody. And now there's even more pet parents, right? Since the pandemic.
That's right.
And I also had a little frustration that I couldn't go to certain pet industry events. I know, Tommy, you were mentioning all the pet magazines before. I've been reading Pet Age magazine and getting that subscription for over 20 years. Forever, and reading it because I always knew I wanted to do something in the pet industry. I wasn't really sure what. And I dabbled in the pet industry for quite a long time before, in different areas of the industry, before I actually decided to host the first networking event. So I had the first networking event. We were originally called Long Island Pet Professionals, super hyper local. And we had 55 people show up at that event from 3 different states, from every borough in New York City and all across Long Island. I called a friend and I was like, you have to come help me. I'm like, because I did a press release. So like my phone was, all of that.
Wait a minute. Let me interrupt you, Nancy. Where did you host that? Was that the one in Hauppauge?
That was at Butterfields in Hauppauge. Yep.
You had people from, did you say 3 different states?
Yep.
All right. Now, for anybody who doesn't know, Hauppauge is not like right next to Queens or or
I'll
outside,
probably, listen, people
just
in Long
outside of the
Island-
Bronx or anything like that. So people actually drove to get to the island and then went out east for this event. That's
or
really.
took the ferry.
Oh,
from
if they came from Connecticut, I guess.
Connecticut, New
Yeah.
Jersey, I forget where the other last person was, but we had 3 different states, all the boroughs from New York City and all over Long Island. And it was kind of crazy because, and what did I do? I spoke about how to get your pet business in the news, because at the time, it was
Right.
really difficult to get a pet business story out there. Now everybody's writing about the pet industry because, $110 billion in the United States. So,
Yeah.
you see all the things.
And you know what? I want to say this too. Now, I mean, so we are, this podcast are members of American Pet Professionals. And yay! And we have, I've gone on a few of the Zoom calls and all of that. She now has clients everywhere. There was a woman from Hawaii on the last call that I was on. And also, oh gosh, I forgot the Midwestern state that somebody was from. But anyway.
No, that's a great point though. That whole, like, this silver lining, if you will, about, what isolation and pandemic life and Zoom and, I'm sure I love Zoom. When somebody invites me to a Teams meeting or what's the other one, like Google Meet, like my kids do Google Meet for school. I don't even know how to use it because I live on this thing all day. But I've met people around the country that I would have never had the intention or the opportunity to really connect with. And now we know, just from our own world, we have a networking group, and we had a group in Philadelphia and in New York City, and now we're across the country in 6 different cities, and we're growing. And that doesn't happen without this type of.
And that's amazing, Tommy. And we actually started doing Zoom meetings before the pandemic because we had so many people from other areas that I was like, how am I going to get everybody, at an event, at a networking event? And so we did one networking event a month on Zoom, probably 2 or maybe 3 years before the pandemic. And they were attended, but then as soon as the pandemic hit, our Zoom meetings took off like everybody else. So we have usually a lot of people on them.
It is much better than just a conference call. I mean, you are getting to really, especially, I love Nancy's Zoom calls because, like me, a lot of other people have like cats and stuff making their random appearances. And, some people have their dogs sleeping in the background or whatever. So it's a lot of fun to watch,
No doubt. I talk about dogs. Look what I did for you, Val.
Thank you.
In a protective case. Boone is protected. So
can't wait to get my Boone cards.
So we'll have to get you one, Nancy. If you want a Boone card, I got one here.
Sure, I'll take one.
I'll hook you up. I think, Tanya, I think we're gonna need more, Tanya. We need more product. All right. So anyway, I need to write you a check for these, so then we can have a whole bunch. I can just send everyone. What about that, Val? What about a card? What about a Jovi card like this too? What do you think?
Oh, I love that idea with a photograph.
Yeah, with a photograph. Oh, God, I just repeated it and then I realized what I was saying. A photograph.
When we come back, I really want Nancy to also talk about, I know we have to go to break, but I really want her to get into is the different type. Incredible.
What we will get to that when you come back, because we're going to go to a quick break right now.
I am Joseph Franklin McElroy, host of the new podcast, Gateway to the Smokies. It airs on talkradio.nyc every Tuesday night from 6 p.m. to 7. Every episode is dedicated to memorable experiences in the Great Smoky Mountains National Park and surrounding areas. This show features experts and locals who will expound upon the richness of culture, history, and adventure that awaits you in the Smokies. Tune in every Tuesday from 6 p.m. to 7 on talkradio.nyc.
Are you passionate about the conversation around racism? Hi, I'm Reverend Dr. TLC, host of the Dismantle Racism Show, which airs every Thursday at 11 a.m. Eastern on talkradio.nyc. Join me and my amazing guests as we discuss ways to uncover, dismantle, and eradicate racism. That's Thursdays at 11 o'clock a.m. on talkradio.nyc.
Are you a small business trying to navigate the COVID-19 related employment laws? Hello, I'm Eric Sauver, employment law, business law attorney, and host of the new radio show, Employment Law Today. On my show, we'll have guests to discuss the common employment law challenges business owners are facing during these trying times. Tune in on Tuesday evenings from 5 p.m. to 6 p.m. Eastern Time on talkradio.nyc.
You're listening to Talk Radio NYC at www.talkradio.nyc. Now broadcasting 24 hours a day.
You got to be super resourceful in the radio show business. So Val and I are texting some questions and stuff like that while we're working on some things. So I do have a question for you, Nancy, if we could talk about it. But before we do that, I got to give a shout out to a friend of all of ours, Jovi the dog. Hello, Jovi. That's not what I was going to do. I wanted to say hello to Joanne Winkard Cave, who's checking in on Facebook, who is giving us all some love, and we appreciate you. And she's been a guest on the show, and I'm sure we'll do some stuff in the future together, because she's certainly on the front lines in the advocacy world. So I want to go into something that Val was starting to talk about there. It's these webinars. She said this word to me, and I love wordplay, but it was webinars and something else. Oh, think tanks. I had to look at my text. Think tanks and webinars. So first of all, what the heck is a webinar? What is that?
All right. So I know it sounds really ridiculous, but we host monthly networking events or networking events. We have webinars where, it's a traditional webinar with slides and all of that. Usually I'm doing the webinars. When we have a guest expert on, which is monthly or sometimes twice a month for our members, I call them webinars because they're Q&A. It's like an interview, but we're really diving into topics with education in mind for our members. And I was interviewing Jessica Hatch with Gone to the Snow Dogs. Hey, Jessica, she's got a huge following on social. And we were talking about TikTok and a couple other things. And when I went to introduce her, instead of saying webinar, Q&A webinar, I muddled the words and said webinar. And I was like, wait a minute, that's exactly what this is. It's a webinar. It's a Q&A webinar. So that's basically, it was just having a fun play on the words, and everybody spells it wrong. I'm like, there's no U in webinar.
Oh my God, Facebook. I just literally hashtag QUEBIN. I always see that's funny, because when you make up your own words, you don't have to follow the rules.
You don't. And it's, right? Think about it.
Yeah, I might try to throw that in, like if I play Scrabble later tonight.
Yeah, do it. It's not a real word yet, but it could end up in the dictionary one day. You never know, right?
You know what? I'm going to share one of my Scrabble secrets. If you're really bold enough when you put the word down, like people will not challenge you. Like, even if, that word, that word's fugazi. So that probably, I'm going to get challenged on that one. But I'll be like, oh, I spelled it wrong. It's not supposed
Listen, give it a couple years and it'll be in Webster, right? Like all the other crazy words that get out there.
Or it might be in Quebsters for that. Who knows?
Maybe. But I'm bummed.
Very good. But so she also has, and I haven't been on it yet, but I'm dying to get on it because I think it's just a natural progression of events. When you're a pet owner, you would think of some kind of a pet product or service that you believe is unique. So she has a pet biz think tank, which Nancy, I'd love for you to talk about it because I haven't been on there yet, but.
Yeah, so I started that last month because we do networking. So we have traditional networking events where everybody's in Zoom and they get to introduce themselves and ask questions. And by the time if there's a lot of people in the room, it's by the time we go around with everybody's, elevator pitch or introduction, we could be a half hour, 40 minutes in and then have some questions. And then we do a themed networking event where we pick a specific topic where we want to talk about, whether it's talking about, dog grooming, training, social media, marketing, business, sales, whatever it is, right? And we just touch upon that lately. But our Pet Biz Idea Think Tank really came out of wanting to teach pet business owners additional ways that they can have revenue for their pet business, or additional ways that they can add, adoptions or any part of the business. So we do go in a little bit deeper. It's more like a mastermind where everybody is there supporting somebody. And it kind of tends to go into one person asking a question or two people, and then everybody jumping in and giving a lot of information. And I just love the aspects of everybody has a lot of information and you might not know everything, right? So I love to hear from other people and what has worked from them. And that's really what our members do on those. And we structured in the way that it's not networking. Like you're not going to have time to go around the room for half an hour. We're jumping right into the topic. And every time I do an event, everybody gets a recap email. Sometimes that recap email is quite long with everything that we talked about. If anybody put links in the chat, like we really make sure everybody gets that recap email, and then they get all the information on who was in the room. So I'm like, don't worry about if you didn't get to meet somebody. I'm going to make sure that you meet everybody in the email. So they can, know who each person was talking.
Oh,
No, it's been a terrific experience. And you have, I mean, so many like unique and really awesome, people involved in the network. And I need to watch the replay of the TikTok webinar or webinar, whatever it was.
That was a webinar.
It was a webinar. Okay. So I've been meaning to rewatch. So Nancy has provided a ton of information about like how-to stuff on TikTok. And we have been told a zillion times, if you're doing something, anything animal related, you have to be on TikTok.
Yeah.
So do you want to hit us with like a couple of quick bullet points? Like you have to, like whatever, a couple of like good tips.
For TikTok?
Yeah.
Oh, I mean, first things first, if you don't have a TikTok, go in and create an account, right? Especially if you're looking to save your name, right? If you want to be Valerie, if you want to be PALs or whatever, you want to make sure you have that, because a lot of people don't think that, or they'll start it with just their name. So I have one for myself, that is Nancy Hassel, and then Cody has one, and that's my dog, and that's Cody the Blue Nose. TikTok can be challenging if you don't want to put the time into it, but it could also be really easy to grow your audience. So I think that, we just talked about the basics, and I'll be at Global Pet Expo next month down in Orlando, giving a much more in-depth educational session there, and I'm excited about that. And then when I come back, all of our members will get to learn that session as well, because there'll be a lot more to it. So the one I did 2 weeks ago was just like the basics. I love all the social media stuff that goes on, and I think that a lot of businesses rely on social media to get those people to know about their business, their pet business, to know about their rescue. There are some amazing veterinarians and people on TikTok that are really doing well. I think that if you are yourself, if your dog's himself, like my dog Cody's on there, and if you really just provide really good value and content and are authentic and kind, people are going to start following you, and they're going to start, really interacting with you, whether it's TikTok or any other social media.
And what was that stat about? You said in an email or somewhere that TikTok has actually taken over Google in terms of search?
There's not so much search yet, but it's the #1 website.
Okay.
They've gone ahead of every website in the world. So as of right now, I don't know, what the stat was yesterday, but since August, they've been ahead. So, I think they're going to be a big time media company. I think you'll see TikTok everywhere. So, a lot of people always go, that kid stuff, it seems real silly. And then 2 years later, they're like jumping on it going, I wish I jumped on earlier. So, that's part of it.
Something that came up, I was on the phone with a buddy of mine, a new friend of mine, networking friend named Camillo the other day. And his name is not Camillo the other day. It was the other day. And I was talking to him and his name is Camillo. I just got to be specific. I don't want to confuse people. So we were on this conversation and he was telling me that people will go and TikTok something now before they'll YouTube it. Now I use YouTube for a lot of stuff. Like if I don't know how to do things, like yesterday I got this new computer, I didn't know how to put some of the pieces together. Well, I wasn't putting the whole thing together. Tommy, you don't have to explain the whole thing. It's okay. Like they didn't think you had the parts. They didn't think it was like 1987 and you like had the components that you got a Radio Shack and you're building a computer. Okay. I was putting the cables in and I wasn't sure how to do all the monitors. So I YouTubed it, but Camilo had said to me, he's like, people are getting that information now on TikTok. And I will shout out another friend of ours, my friend Miss Excel, Kat Norton, who is really has blown up on, you'll see her in like Forbes and CNBC, and she's got an incredible TikTok account, Miss MISS Excel, like Excel, like Microsoft, and she does these videos about Excel things, like information on how to use Excel, but she does it like with hip hop music in the background, and she's taken off, and she was actually a friend of mine emailed me last night because they had a chance to connect, and she's helpful too. She looks out for people. She wants to share. It's not like keeping all the secrets, but she really has had a lot of fun. So I want to use this. Richie Schwartz says he's at Richie Magic on TikTok.
Of course he is. Hi, Richie.
A friend of ours.
Hi, Richie.
Richie is one of our longest members of American Pet Professionals, and he's been to almost every in-person networking event in the New York area. So
what's up?
You have to have him on. He's a pet photographer. He's the one who gave me that joke.
Oh God.
About the interrupted cat.
I
joke.
Yeah. And like that's an old joke. I mean, it's an old joke.
I had never heard of it.
But it's like actually a cow joke that I think they just turned into a cat.
Yes, they knew, Nancy, it was terrible. They knew my joke. They saw it coming a million miles away.
But, and Richie, he's giving us a high sign. Richie goes, yes. Richie, the problem was like, look, I love Valerie more than I love most people, and I love everybody. But the thing is, like, this was like, we knew this. This is an oldie but a goodie, Richie. This was like not a new joke.
I loved it. I loved it.
It was like she just got here from Mars, though, and like they were like, "Hey, here's some new jokes." Oh my God!
Richie can tell us new jokes when he comes.
Richie, when you come on the show, get us some new jokes. If you have old jokes, give them to Val, because what's old for us is new for Valerie. So.
And speaking of being old, I feel old with the TikTok stuff because I feel like it goes too fast. I don't know. It's just me.
The trick about it, you know what the trick is though?
No.
Here's the trick. People will have to watch it more than once, and that plays a game. I watched this movie. I was watching this new thing on Netflix last night. It was talking about the algorithm. These two guys in Berlin had created the algorithm, and apparently I'm only halfway through the series, but Google kind of ripped them off, I guess. It's called The $1 Billion Code. Really fun watch. But it's that, like, the algorithm, like if you do something like that and they got to keep watching it.
Yeah, I feel
like that's a good thing. That's a shot in the arm. The more they watch it,
I guess, but it's not good for me. Like, I love to cook. So when they're doing recipes, it's like, flour, baking powder, and then it's done and you have a cake, and I'm like, what just happened?
You might need to slow down and use a little YouTube for the recipe.
I need YouTube.
I think.
Listen, I think YouTube is really, fantastic too. So, I mean, no doubt that YouTube will be sticking around, but I just think that TikTok is, our attention spans are shorter these days, right? You got to capture somebody's attention.
Nancy, I wasn't paying attention. What'd you say?
All right, 3 seconds. You got that 3-second hook to get in there. And some of the popular TikToks are 7 to 10 seconds. So that's why when people are like, I can't do it, I don't have time. I tell my pet retailers, I'm like, if you guys are in your stores before you open, you could take your phone and go and shoot like 20 TikToks and keep it in your camera roll and upload them when you're ready. What's new in the store, what new products we have, a favorite thing that's going on. There's so many things that you can do for your pet business, especially animal rescues. Here's who we have. We're looking for a foster for this. I mean, there's so many things that you can do. It doesn't have to take, hours. Right. And that's for all social and all promotion.
You got to do it. And you got to do it a lot. Like this guy, same guy, Camilla, that I was talking to the other night. He's like, Tom, you got to do 15 to 30 videos like a month. Like 30 is like really where you want to be. Yeah, I know. But Val, it's like the stuff we're going to do after the show.
It's 10 seconds.
Right.
Little things. Like
10 seconds.
No big deal.
I have a 10-second TikTok right now. Ready?
Oh,
Hi, Joanne, Wing Park Cave.
That's good. See, that's what you should do. That is a perfect video.
I love you so much.
Put on TikTok. We have, talk about 10 seconds. We got to go, but I want to send one quick thing. I feel bad for you, Richie Magic. He says, I'm so sad. I only have 32 followers.
Always promoting on my stuff, Richie.
Yeah, I see that. But check it out. Check it out, Richie. You're definitely coming on the show because I don't even play around with Twitter, but he's got 32,000 followers on Twitter. So, Richie, we're giving you a little love here on the Professionals and Animal Lovers show. We'd appreciate a little love on Twitter if you can hook us up.
Richie.
Give us a shout out.
Yeah, you guys need to follow each other, help each other out.
I will help you. I'll follow you right after this. You'll have 33 followers on TikTok. Instagram, a whole nother thing. All right. Kyle, take us to break. We'll be right back, everybody. This is PALS.
Join us every Tuesday at 4 p.m. Eastern for the Mind Behind Leadership, where we focus on what leadership really means to us and to others. We have practical discussions with the CEOs of some of the world's largest companies, owners of small businesses, and experts in psychology and behavior to get that inside track, what to do, what to avoid, and what really happens. Join me, Graham Dobbin, at the new time, 4 p.m. every Tuesday for the Mind Behind Leadership, here live on talkradio.nyc.
Hey everybody, it's Tommy D, the nonprofit sector connector, coming at you from my attic. Each week here on talkradio.nyc, I host a program, Philanthropy in Focus. Nonprofits impact us each and every day, and it's my focus to help them amplify their message and tell their story. Listen each week at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time until 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, right here on talkradio.nyc. Calling all pet lovers.
Pet Avengers, assemble!
On the Professionals and Animal Lovers show, we believe the bond between animal lovers is incredibly strong. It mirrors that bond between pets and their owners. Through this program, we come together to learn, educate, and advocate.
Join us live every Wednesday at 2 p.m. at talkradio.nyc.
You're listening to Talk Radio NYC at www.talkradio.nyc. Now broadcasting 24 hours a day.
We gotta take care of business, as they say here in trade. So Richie and I are like making deals. Richie Magic and I like in the chat on Facebook. So I'm gonna, I don't know who's following us, but you should follow us on Facebook, P.A.L.show. So PALShow on there. And to answer your question, Richie, right here in real time, I'm gonna just go on my Instagram and figure out it's PALShow on Instagram, Val, right? Like, is it P.A.L. show is how you do it. So that's how you can follow us if you're not already. Selfishly, since we're being selfish, I'll say if you want to follow me and see stuff I'm doing, TommyD.nyc, all about the nonprofits. Excuse me. It's okay. So on Instagram, it's same way, P.A.L.show. Also period, but you can go with dot, whatever you want to do. It's just put a little poke. Like
You'll find us. And also, since we're self-promoting, I do need to mention that we are about to book our first event for the Professional and Animal Lovers show. It is going to be a pet working event, and it's going to be cocktail style. So we will let you know the date, and we are going to be loving and looking for sponsors, but also very exciting. Nancy did something also unique. I think she's still on mute right now, but I want her to talk about how she has a very small window to join her organization each year. It's not just join anytime. I joined frantically. I was like on the wait list and I joined frantically. I was like, oh my God, it's open for like a week. So Nancy, I think you're open right now for business.
Yes. And first, I definitely will have to talk offline, Valerie, about your upcoming event, because I want to see how we can get involved. It'll be fun.
Yeah.
But yeah, that'll definitely be fun. So yeah, so we've been in business 13 years. So we are all about the pet industry. We're the only organization that allows anybody from any area of the industry. So if you're a dog trainer or a pet store owner or retailer, whatever it is, groomer, veterinarian, we have members from all over. And we also have people that have created their own niche in the pet industry, which blows my mind every time I meet somebody and they're like, I have this and this is what I do. It's not in your drop down. So when somebody joins, they go when they get to pick their category, right? I think that happened with you, Val. You were like, hey, we need a niche.
What am I?
So, yeah, we created one, and that has happened often. So when we first started with those drop downs, so people can look on our membership directory, pet parents and other business owners, if they're looking to connect with our members, it's a public directory. It's not hidden. It's nothing like that. So if you want to look for a dog trainer or, dog treats in your area, definitely can do that.
I remember getting so excited over seeing that there was a dating app for, I was like, oh, what a brilliant idea.
Yeah,
Like,
we have
brilliant.
Dig Dates and Tabby, and she just got a deal on I think Shark Tank. So we have some
Oh, yes.
amazing members doing amazing
Hold
things.
on, Nancy, what is it called?
It's Dig Dates and then Tabby. And
I
they're
think
once
it's DIGG.
yeah, I think it's
Right.
DIG.
Oh,
Dates.
sorry. Never
Yeah.
mind.
And
One's
then
for
Tabby.
dog lovers, and
Right,
then they
one
did
is
a
for
cat
cats.
lover one. I saw that. I
Yeah.
On Shark Tank?
Yeah, she did. She went on for Tabby
saw
for
that
Shark
one.
Tank.
Everyone else went out. Yeah, it was
Yeah,
great.
so we have so many members doing incredible things, like Richie doing the pets photography, and I was just busting his chops. I'm always happy to see Richie at our events and doing all this stuff. But I just think that, we really make sure that we're touching upon what business owners need to know, what rescues need to know. I'm constantly asking and asking and asking, what do you guys want to learn? If I'm not going to present information. And then the other thing that we do is we vet every expert that comes to us, meaning I don't just like throw an expert in. I probably do an hour plus interview with them, make sure that they're the right fit for our membership, because we have so many people that come to us for either wanting to reach our audience. We also send out a pet events newsletter that has been going out since November of 2008, every Wednesday.
Wow.
So you can find all that information on our website. But yeah, our membership is open right now. We only are open a couple of times a year. And we do that because I just want to focus my attention on our members. And so we only have our membership doors open for a limited time. And right now they're open until Monday, the 28th, which is the day after our 13th anniversary. So, yeah.
And I will say also, Nancy, you do a great job. I notice in your emails, I feel like I'm talking to you when I'm reading your emails.
Oh, that's so sweet. Thank you.
And you're always like, if you have anything, if you have a pet event you want to promote, if you have any questions, do you want to book time with me? Like, she's very generous with her time. And actually, I do have a quick question for you.
Yeah.
Because Tommy is in New York, right around you, can he sub in for me sometimes, like, because I'm not there?
Yeah, definitely. We'll talk about that.
And Val, you didn't really make it very fair right there. I mean, Nancy, if necessary, I'll become a member, but it's like, you make it fair. You got to live on a show, and you're like, what is her options there?
Honestly, I have to look at what her membership is. I don't remember from when you joined, so we'd have to look. But yeah,
I'm sitting here in my own head going, look, as much as I do in the nonprofit sector, and you talk a lot about rescues, I'm assuming there's a whole nonprofit bent to what you're doing.
Absolutely. We have a lot of nonprofits that are either organizations or animal rescues. We have, Southampton Animal Shelter, Yorkie 911, Amaryllis Horse Rescue. Like, we have a lot of rescues, and then nonprofit organizations that are just doing tremendous things in the pet industry.
All right, here's what we're going to do. I am going to hassle you a little bit. So here's the thing. I'm on this campaign, which is like, it hasn't been on hold, but I'm just super busy with a lot of projects, this being one of them. But I'm doing 60 days of service for nonprofit organizations, right? Shout out John DiLeonardo if you're listening, John, because I was thinking about you the other day. I got to get the waiters. You know what it was? I was in like Target or Walmart, and they have these, waiters, like the big old, like, like
for fishing
rubber pants. Like,
yeah.
So I sort of threatened John with a good time of like me going out there and like saving some fowl, some ducks and whatnot. And it hasn't happened yet. And it's like beautiful out right now. So it makes me want to be outside. But like tomorrow when it's 14, I might not want to, 14 degrees, I might not want to. But I, if there's organizations that we can come out, this is part of one of the things we really want to do is get out there. And me, it'll be Tommy D. Well, there's only one Tommy D. So it's not like I'm splitting myself in half. Cool if I could. But it was like, I always wanted to clone myself, different show. But if I want you to say like, hey, Tommy, it'd be cool if you went out and did a day of service for this rescue. The rabbit rescue we're going to talk about, something with John with the ducks and the chickens, and there's my train again. And how I can make an impact for some of those nonprofits. So we'll do a one-on-one on that after the fact. That's my ride. I have to go now. All right, no, listen, we got a minute, Val.
All right, shout out to Renee Kraft because she committed to TNRing 100 cats in honor of Betty White's birthday.
That's amazing.
And she just posted a video the other day. She traps like 10 cats with one drop trap.
Wow.
She's well on her way.
Renee, Renee, thank you for doing that, Renee. I want to be part of that. I don't know if we said it on the show or right before the show. I forget what was real and what was, but I want to do that. All right. But I got to stay away because I'll sneeze, but I'll take Benadryl, whatever I got to do. But I want to play. I want to get him. And shout out to our new friend, Lynn, who we're going to have on the show. I know you've been talking to Lynn, Val. So shout out to Lynn. We've been talking about some other things we're doing together, but they're out there not trapping, but rescuing, saving. What's the right word?
They're tracking and finding people's lost dogs.
Right, tracking. Yeah, that. So they're coming up on the show soon too. How do we get in touch with you, Nancy? Just give us some kind of.
Yeah, absolutely. You could just go to our website, AmericanPetProfessionals.com, and that's the best way. We're on every social media platform you can imagine, and I'm also on LinkedIn if you want to look me up, Nancy Hassel on LinkedIn. But AmericanPetProfessionals.com.
We will find you, Valerie. Anything to send the folks home with?
Join Nancy's organization and stay tuned for next week when we're going to have a couple of representatives from North Shore Animal League.
Yes, Jane Vitale will be here next week. So thank you, Dr. Larry Grubler from Transitional Services for New York, playing connector on that one, making sure. I heard me say something about animals somewhere, and that's how that happened. This is your Professionals Animal Lovers Show. Thanks, Kyle, for doing a great job on the other side of the glass. Thank you, Valerie. Thank you, Nancy. I leave you with this.
Thanks, guys.
The greatness of a nation and its moral progress can be judged by the way its animals are treated. I hold that the more helpless a creature, the more entitled it is to the protection by man from the cruelty of humankind. That's from
Gandhi.
Hey, Gandhi. Woohoo.
Thank you, Nancy.
Thank you guys so much for having me.